Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJA Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Friday, April 25th, 2025. It's been a blessing to be with all of you for more than 5 years, every weekday morning, singing a blessing, learning some Torah, holding each other, taking care of each other. It's good to see you, Tracy, Penny, Kim, Shabbat Shalom, my friend, Susie and Tara. Hi, Boker Tov. Sharon, it's good to see you. Carl, good morning. Barry and Debbie, good to see you too. Let's see who else is here so we can get ready together for Shabbat and do a little bit of learning. All right. Adrian and Jonathan, Linda, Dale, and Debbie, Boker Tov. It is broadcast 1290. I only know that because Penny told me yesterday what the broadcast was. Sandy, Boker Tov, and Shabbat Shalom. Anya, good to see you. Natalia, Michael, hope that you are doing well. Hi, Deborah. All right, let's take a breath, everyone. Sing a bracha, learn some Torah. Here we go. Arlene, you are in Washington, D.C. to celebrate your granddaughter Maya's bat mitzvah. Mazel tov to your family. Stan and Natalie, good morning. Haley, Amy, and Peter. Hi, Deborah. Sending you healing. לעשות בדברי תורה, לעסוק בדברי תורה, הפוך בה והפוך בה, לעסוק בדברי תורה. תראי All right, friends. First of all, correction, Arlene Mazel Tov on Maya's first birthday. I totally misread that. Thank you for the correction, and Mazel Tov on the appropriate simcha. Isn't it nice to be confused between two different things to celebrate? I also wanted to dedicate today's learning, I mentioned this a few weeks ago, to the efforts that Nan Rubin and Howard Rubin, beloved friends and students and leaders in so many ways in our community. Nan is in need of a kidney transplant, and so they are holding a series of events. The main one is going to be Monday night at Park Avenue Synagogue. Doors open at 7 o'clock this coming Monday, and it is a chance to hear the incredible personal experience of a kidney donor and to learn from Rabbi Josh Sturm, who is Director of Outreach for an organization called Renewal, which is dedicated to saving lives by helping kidney donors and recipients navigate all the aspects of the transplant process. For those of us who can't be present and you'd like to learn more, you can send an email or make a call. I've asked a colleague to post the information for the organization Renewal to ask questions about that. So you can, someone just posted it, thank God. You can make a call or send an email to that address. And if you'd like information about the event, you could also go to the Park Avenue website and find out more there. A colleague posted posted that link too. That's very nice. All right. It's the day after Yom HaShoah, and I I spoke with my wife just a few moments ago, and I said to her, what should I talk about today?" And she said that she's always been fascinated, and now I'm thinking about it too, about the day after. We have these days, these incredibly potent days. Yom HaShoah, just name other incredibly intense days. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Yom HaAtzmaut. We have these days. What about the day after? What about the day after Yom HaShoah? And that is a really good question. It lines up with the intensity of what happens in this week's Parsha, and we're left with a similar question. Remember, in Parshat Shmini this week, we read about the deaths of Nadav and Avihu, Aaron's children. Again, the circumstances of their death are a different conversation than what happens for the survivors of that day, those who go through it and have the next day. Specifically, Aaron. He's a public leader, and so the way that he goes through grief is potentially different because he's in the public eye. And many of us who serve as public leaders struggle with this question. How do we grieve publicly when our community also looks to us for stability? I find a great example, a manifestation of the best we could possibly do in my teacher, my friend, the CEO of UJA, Eric Goldstein, who is a presence in the world. His work has changed the world, and he's humble about it, but it's very clear to anyone who works with him what an impact he has just by being present. And when he speaks, especially about things that matter, which is much of what he does in the world, his voice sometimes trembles. And there's a way that his vulnerability animates the good power that he wields in the world. And I believe that that's probably what Aaron HaKohen, Aaron, our ancestor, manifested in these terrible days after the impossible day of his son's dying. In the immediate aftermath, Vayidom Aharon, he was silent, but then he had to continue his avodah, his service in the world. And so I think that's a good question for us to consider. In these days between Yom HaShoah, just yesterday, in Israel, Yom HaShoah v'Hagvura, Day of Holocaust and Heroism, what do we do in the days between that day, yesterday, and this coming week, which includes Yom HaZikaron, Israel's Remembrance Day for those who fought in defense of the state of Israel, for the founding of Israel, and in acts of terror. And the immediate after of that day is Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Days. I see this week very similar to the way I consider the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. These are the days of in-between. These are the days that in our world, our modern Jewish consciousness, are Yamim Noraim, days that are awesome, full of awe. And doesn't that tell us a lot about the day after? Yom HaShoah was meant to be a day that contained, as if anything could, the grief, or ritually held the space for the Jewish memory of the Shoah. It could have been those who were making the decision, the rabbinate in Israel. It could have been the Shoah integrated into Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of Av during the summer, where we place so many days of grief on the Jewish calendar. On that day, we remember both temples that were destroyed. We mythically place the fall of Beitar and the signing of the Edict of Expulsion from Spain. But the Shoah exceeded those days in scope, in magnitude, in impact. And so we placed it on a different day. That day, yesterday, was meant to mark in our minds the memory of our rebellion, the rebellion in the Warsaw Ghetto. And what a powerful thing it is to live the day after that, the day after we mark ritually the Jewish response to the Shoah. And so today is a day for us to consider the impact of all of that on us and to be active with it. I don't know that we have the right to look at our ancestor, Aaron, and say, okay, the day after he got up to do his work, I dare not conjecture what was in his heart, his broken heart. Because after all, the death of his sons was wrapped up in the service that he was called to do. And so he had to locate himself specifically in the same kind of proximity that killed his children. And that kind of vulnerability is something that we also have to be wary of, conscious of, and incredibly respectful for. Because after all, on Yom HaShoah, Tzahal was doing its work. The day after Yom HaShoah, Tzahal must do its work, as must the countless Jewish professionals and allies doing the work of building up our community in the face of incredible Jewish vulnerability. Neshama made the point, as we were talking just a little bit ago, that if only it were after October 7th, and yet it's not. It is, and it's not. We are carrying, some of us visibly on the outside, all of us on the inside. We are carrying the moment that we have been in for 567 days. It is important for us to consider the day after, too. What will it mean for time to move on? And of course, we don't let go our memory. We don't do that for the Shoah. We don't do that for the Beit HaMikdash, the temple in Jerusalem. We don't do that when it's personal loss. We don't do that. Aaron certainly didn't do that. How do we move forward? And I think we must be gentle on ourselves. It is perhaps a gift. It is certainly a gift that we have Yom HaShoah and then a week later Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut. What a gift to have ritual expectation that we will move into a next moment. What a gift it will be in just a few hours to light candles for Shabbat. Are we done with Yom HaShoah? Never, not really. But we move forward in time, one day at a time, with gentle expectations of ourselves and others. Because after all, we don't leave time behind. We are the people that carries time in us. Every day in our tefillot, we say the words Lador Vador, which doesn't actually mean, as we often mistranslate it, from generation to generation. That's not what those words mean. From generation to generation in Hebrew would be Midor Lidor. What does it mean, Lador Vador? To generation and generation. Which means we are actually ourselves the embodiment of everything that has come before us, as will be the generation to come. It's not a conscious act of us transmitting to them. It's us saying we are comprised of everything that has been. So in a sense, it means the same thing, but the nuance is important. We are, in our consciousness, in our souls, and in our very bodies, the embodiment of everything we have been handed. It's not about handing it to someone else. It's about making sure that we're holding it. And so the day after, it's a continuation. It's a continuation for sure. But the day after is also a gift because we need to live forward. Yesterday I was blessed. Everyone who works at UJA was blessed to be present as Robert Atlas, a beautiful, beautiful, funny human being who survived the Shoah, was interviewed by his granddaughter, Ilana Atlas, who works at UJA, a phenomenal colleague, a kind soul, who treated her grandfather with such respect and love and helped him tell his story. Robert said that he learned from his mother to face the future. She said, leave the past behind. But he acknowledged when he was speaking that we don't really do that. And so I would invite us, friends, in honor of everyone that we have paid attention to, in all of this, in honor of the survivors, in memory of many of the survivors, to make sure that we embody the best of what they gave us, which is to live forward fiercely without ever letting the past fade. It's very important. And as Susie just wrote, so Jewish. So as we go into Shabbat, friends, I wish us this blessing. May we be channels for the best of the past as we fight for a worthy future. Let's take a breath, sing a blessing, and know that our future requires our sisters and brothers coming home for it to be whole. Sing with me. Kolon baleva pnima nefesh Yehudi homia ulefate mizrach kadima ayin letzion Sophia od lo avda tikvateinu התקווה בת שנות 2000 להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון וירושלים להיות עם חופשי בארצנו ארץ ציון Virushalayim. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. Shabbat Shalom, my friends. See you on Monday.